The Order 1886 is a very unique game, not only because of its controversial thoughts on its length, but because the game gives us a lot to think about. One of the many reasons why I was excited about this game was mainly because it was made by the same developers that made the God of War franchise, one of my most beloved game series, in which they have such an interesting story and unique way of telling it, and with my mixed interest in an Old English era, along with werewolves and futuristic century era weapons, made me feel that much more interested about this title. Ready at Dawn, the studio behind this game, has proven themselves worthy to me and with my trust to develop something else in a mythological world with amazing effects and memorial characters. Keep in mind I have only played the first 3 chapters of this game, so this video will consist of what I think of the game so far, what it lacks, and how it could improve if or when it decides to get a sequel. So, let's begin. The Order 1886 opens up in a very smart and interesting way. The reason I say that such a thing is that the game opens up such in a cinematic film experience in a game form. I was very happy and pleased with the 3 chapters that they did not consist of a ton of cutscenes. There is a decent amount of gameplay and dialogue between each and every character, and it is always interesting to find out what each character says to one another dealing with a problem or just subject, even though some of the dialogue and or actions that they take necessarily don't make sense to the player right off the bat. However, this is later on explained, so it does make up for it, but yet it was no need for it. If you are used to third-person action shooters or survival games, then this will be no problem for you to get adjusted or similar in tuned with the Order 1886. It consists of very similar controls and movements such as The Last of Us or The Evil Within. Yet, I'll say that again, very similar to The Evil Within, in my opinion. Speaking of The Evil Within, the thing that I find most appealing about this game to me personally is the aspect ratio, the black bars to be exact. They are very similar to The Evil Within because it gives it more of a true and visual, appealing cinematic experience when playing just about any third-person game. Only a few people will agree with me on that, and those who do are mainly correct. Unfortunately, one of the things that I find most disappointing about the Order 1886 is that the pacing is everywhere and could be confusing at times. This to me is highly important when developing any game or telling any story, such as movies for example. If you set up a scene with an amazing dialogue and visually appealing moments, you can't just leave the audience in the blank throughout the rest of the movie. You can't cheat them out of an experience that you promised or showed in a trailer. You have to keep your audience intrigued and invested in what comes next. The Order 1886 sometimes gives you a fair amount of ideas or thoughts of what could be happening next, depending on whether you like things being explained in such a rational form or in a straight up form. Another thing that I found positive about this, and many people will be saying, how could I think of such a thing? I'm completely insane. Is that this game does not have a multiplayer, and I think it is a positive that this game doesn't have a multiplayer. The reason I say that strongly is because not every game needs a multiplayer, but I understand that more people want their bang for their buck, and I totally, 100% understand and feel completely the same. However, I see a different side of the coin. I feel as if the developer has a better understanding of the world that they have invested their time into and have been creating for an X amount of years, and the characters that they want to explore and better have a better understanding and more storytelling and more lore to it. It mainly focus on that, on those key essentials, and rather not have a multiplayer experience. I myself do not mind spending $60 on a game with just a single player that has a visually appealing cinematic experience and storytelling, such as the God of War franchise or the BioShock franchise, and especially the Rockstar game LA Noire, which is some of my most favorite games of all time. I will say that the Order 1886 has a very unique way and setup to make a sequel depending on how the game ends, which I myself have not yet beaten, so I cannot say for sure. In conclusion, I find myself enjoying the Order 1886. Even though it has some pacing issues and a few bits and bugs here and there, I find myself enjoying the story and the dialogue between each and every character. I should have my first game ever game review up soon enough. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in a future video.